G'day, I'm Marty Secheny. So this is a Sailfish 2800 Platinum with a 2.8 metre beam from Webb Marine Kilroy with twin Honda 225s. I started fishing when I was very young. My dad taught me to fish, and we had a little 5.2 metre sport fish at the time. And we've always been out of Botany Bay, and we started venturing further and further ashore in it to the point where it was getting ridiculous. So I saw a Sailfish cat one day, really liked it. Ended up buying a 2400 Gamefisher back then and ran that boat for a good 5 or 6 years, and then wanted to upgrade to something larger, always looking to go further and longer and, you know, chase bigger fish. And look, I've ended up in this 2800 Platinum and couldn't be happier with it at the moment. The guys at Webb Marine looked after me. I really had a lot of things I wanted customised and done differently to the standard one. And Ash and Gav there at Webb and Darren up at the factory, they couldn't have been more accommodating for me, and everything I wanted they did. I remember Darren actually saying that he loves the challenge of something different. He likes to be able to get in and customise them because it's something different for them to do as well. And mate, they were right into it, and along the way they added to it. They were keen, they were all guns blazing, so they came up with other stuff that I hadn't thought of, particularly in terms of storage, gaff storage, and we pretty much decided that anywhere we could fit a compartment bigger than a tissue box, we'd put a hatch on it. So yeah, they did, and it's turned out well. A big thing for me was I always intended just to use it as a day boat. So I didn't want it enclosed. I didn't want the rear doors, the windows. We sacrificed a lot of things, like I didn't want the showers or any of the underfloor fresh water tanks, so we could get maximum fuel capacity under there. So it's a 2800, but we opted for a 2.8 metre beam. And I think importantly, that extra 300 mil goes into the sponsons, not the gap between them, to give you a better ride. And I'm very glad I did that. As I said, we ripped out all the fresh water options and just went for maximum fuel capacity. So we carry 600 litres or 300 each side. We offset the superstructure so that there's no excess up the port side, and that gave us an extra 150 or 200 mil space in the cabin and just giving us the walk around access up the starboard side. We flipped the targa top backwards, so the back of the targa top usually faces towards the bow, and we've reversed it back so we could get double length window openings, because I really wanted to be able to, I like to be able to hang out the window when we're spending a lot of time with someone on the fish out this side of the boat without having to sort of juggle with the glass. So yeah, it gave us a nice breezy big window opening. We threw in some shockwave suspension seats. Apart from the little food fridge, we run 2 other compressors on board. So the drinks esky is fully refrigerated with its own compressor. Underneath there on the port side of the boat, we've got a 460 litre freezer underfloor, so we can pack ice bags into there before we leave, turn the freezer on, and yeah, the ice is good for a couple of days in there. And usually if we get on a good fish, we can slide it up in there, fill it up with salt water, and we get a nice slurry going, and it keeps the fish good till we get home. We inbuilt the slimy tubes instead of just tacking them onto the back of the boat. We put rod holders up the side of the targa top as well, so that when we get onto a fish, we can load everything off to that side and keep the fight side clear. And we built a little station at the back of the boat here so that we can have a third Hatland touchscreen, so that when guys are jigging or catching bait down here at the back, or even when we're just trolling along, people can see what's happening on the sounder, or yeah, even just watch where we're up to in terms of going out, coming back, what the temperature is, and answer all those questions people like to ask along the way. Chop from Furuno, Mark sat down with us right from the outset as well when we started planning the build. We've ended up putting a pretty comprehensive Furuno package in, and initially we needed more power. We were drawing so much power that on these long 12 and 14 hour trolling days, we were drawing more than we were putting back into the system. So we sat down with the guys at Webb Marine and Chop, and we devised a bit of an action plan and came up with a lithium battery bank standalone up in the front of the cabin. That just looks after the Furuno side of things. So it's powering the satellite compass. We've got a 72 nautical mile radar on the roof. We've got 3 Hatland touch screens, 2 up the front, 1 out the back here. We've got all the PCs up the front, the charging equipment, We've got 3 transducers under the boat, a 2 kilowatt, 1 kilowatt and a triple beam on custom fairing blocks. So it was drawing a heap of power, and the boys came up with a solution and it hasn't missed a beat since, so it's been really good. Yeah, for us it's always an early start. I like to get well out and off the shelf at first light. Sometimes you get that nice early morning bite, so we tend to usually leave the ramp by 4:30ish, 4 o'clock, 4:30. Just use the radar, take our time getting out till first light, punch it a bit harder until we get to the grounds we're looking for. We put in a pretty long day. It's usually sunrise to sunset and sometimes a bit beyond that as well. Try and get the 2 tide changes in and yeah, go as long and far and hard as we can until we find the fish really. In terms of what we did and why we did it today, obviously everyone looks at things like rip charts before they go out and gets as much information together as they can. We knew there was a good bite down off JB yesterday, and that's that hot water that sort of bypasses Sydney and it's coming into JB and branching down predominantly towards Burmy at the moment. They've had a really great run of these yellowfin. We're down wide off the southern canyons off Sydney and chasing a patch of warm water that you can see coming up here from down south. So we're hoping we might find some yellowfin up in the front edge of that, about 21.5 degree water. And that same body of water was seen to be pushing up on rip charges within about 70 k's of Botany Bay, southeast. So this morning we punched it out and decided to head for those waters. We found the good water. It was nice and blue out there, out wide and about 1700 fathoms. Temperature was right. We saw good yellowfin bursting through the water this morning, just didn't get a touch from it. And that's fishing. You know, we didn't get the bite, but we'll keep chasing it. Yeah, look, today is a bit heavy. We'd normally run Tiagra 50s when we're fishing for tuna. We knew we were heading out super wide today, so we thought we'd throw the 80s on board. We had a bit of luck on the Pro Fiji spreads last season. I hadn't run them prior to that, and we got some really good results. So today we threw a Fiji spread in. I think 4 out of the 5. Later on we changed the shotty over to a bullet, but yeah, predominantly running Pro Fijis today in hope that we'd get a nice yellowfin.
Oh, it's only a little one, little jelly bean. Nah, too small.
My own personal preference is Shimano gear. It's never let me down. We've got 50s, we've got 80s, we've got Saragosas, and all our rods, pretty much all our gear's Shimano. Mate, if I was to give you my top 3 tips for yellowfin fishing, personally I love 21 degree water. I like good blue, clear water like everyone else does. If I have to go further to get out of the murk or the green or the cloudy water, I'll travel as far as we need to. Yeah, obviously, as we learnt today, I think number 3 is patience. For me, it's my getaway, it's my downtime, it's my happy place. You know, you get out those heads, lose phone reception, it's just great. You know, and you get out there with your mates. It doesn't really matter to me whether we get on them or don't get on them. I really love being on the water, spending time with family, friends. I've got 2 sons, Nathan and Aaron. I love them both dearly. They both like coming out on the boat. They're just starting to get more into it than probably ever before. I've fished all my life, as I said, but they're now 14 and 16 and just starting to take a bit of an interest. And look, the more they get into it, the more I enjoy going out with them, and it just makes it all that more special, I think.